formal welcome to all my friends, and just for the sake of convenience of all, let's record this so that people may come back saying,
Recording in progress.
"Sir, can we have the recording, please?" That's what. Okay, so sir, we didn't know that after becoming a chartered accountant, it's even tough to find the right job and get the right guidance, because over the last 5 days, you have been bombarded with all the kind of queries: what to do, what not to do, whom to contact, whom not to contact. And trust me, I'm here to help you out on few things. Since last 15 years, I have been helping chartered accountants get placed in. Shivani, is the voice clear now? Yeah, but some few people are finding it less a voice. So can you just help me out with the audio video check so that we can now move ahead?
Recording stopped.
Everything perfect. So that means if people are saying everything perfect, so that means there are few people who are not into the proper connection zone. So I would just request you that get into the proper internet connection zone so that it will be easy for you. Okay, thank you.
Recording in progress.
So welcome to all the chartered accountants. Today the agenda which I have in front of me is pretty much straightforward. I am not supposed to go round and explain something, but just trying to give you which team what basically is going to do and how you can discuss on things. Okay, so let me be very candid and clear on few things in the beginning.
Recording stopped.
I prepared a presentation for you. कौन सी वाली नंबर उनकी है
Recording in progress.
Okay, so I hope most of you have cleared chartered accountancy, and the people whom I am interacting with are more or less chartered accountants. मेरे students तो नहीं आ गए बीच में. I just wanted to check that. Okay, so why I'm here for? I'm here for the following. Correct. After CA, so I am going to talk to you about opportunities, and second I am going to talk to you about support from our side. Okay, so the support from our side will be okay. So the support from our side will be in terms of helping you with past questions of interview, CV drafting sessions, interaction with partners from Big Four, lining up for placements, collecting CVs and presenting them to Big Fours and industry, so all these things we will be doing from our office. The opportunities for that, I have created a small presentation for you which I would like to take you through. So ready for it? Yes or no? Okay. So sir, first of all, opportunities after becoming a chartered accountant would go as follows. Number one, whether you want to get into a job, whether you want to get into a practice, whether you want to do your own business, whether you enter into teaching, because after looking at people like us, most of the candidates and students also develop कि मेरे को teacher बनना है sir. So that's one more thing. And then there is something called further studies. So what you want to do is something a matter of choice. I think few of them want to become a teacher, few of them want to do something else. I don't want to go into the traditional path of practice. I really don't want to get into a 9 to 5 corporate job. All these kind of things would come into your mind, and you would like to find a answer to all this. Correct? So can I get some interaction now? I will just open up the chat room for all of you so that you can talk some sensibly. Now we are 2 years old into the pandemic. I can understand you had a lot of fun over Zoom with teachers and students. Now you won't be having it. So yes, what do you all want to aim? Opportunities after chartered accountancy, being a job, getting into a job, into practice, own business, teaching, further studies. I'll just open and keep it open for everyone. You can reply to everyone. Just change the settings. Yeah. So there are job aspirants. Okay. Corporate job. Fine. Outside India. Fine. Teaching. Industry. Stock markets. Okay. Initially job, later then practice. Okay. Job outside India. Job in industry. Fair enough. Fair enough. So it's more or less okay. So now I have got few favorite words coming out of the discussion. So number one is, I want to get into investment banking, sir. I want to get into equity research, sir. I want to do a job in private equity, sir. I want to get into deal advisory, sir. Private equity, deal advisory, investment banking, equity research. These are like those decorated words which you and I have been hearing out from every pass out for the first 1.5 months of becoming a chartered accountant. So we will take up everything one by one. Correct. So I will take up everything one by one. This is the overall universe. A chartered accountant can do these 5 things. He can get into a job, into practice, own business, teaching or further studies. Fine. So now let's get into the further details. What are the opportunities after chartered accountancy in terms of job and in terms of practice? Okay, so I'll take one by one. You go and do a job in a CA firm, which is usually a big 4, or a regular CA firm. Let's say somebody specializing into tax wants to get into a Bansi Mehta or a Suresh Surana and Associates, that they are specializing into direct tax advisory, or you want to get into an industry under these 3 categories. See, confusion है तभी आज session है. कंफ्यूजन नहीं होता तो ये सेशन नहीं होता. So it's perfectly okay. You are here for this session. Please listen to it. So now you get into a CA firm or into a big four or into an industry. I'll explain them one by one. Then if you get into practice of your own, you do some direct tax practice or you do some indirect tax practice. Once you get into a direct tax practice and audit advisory, these are three basic options. Once you get into direct tax practice, you need to do returns, individuals, partnership firms and HUFs. Okay. If you get into indirect tax, you will be doing GST compliance for all your clients. And if you get into audit advisory, you will be handling private, public, limited clients, as well as partnership firms and mainly tax audits. Okay. So these are the three areas when you get into practice. Now, because the overall crowd is more inclined towards understanding more of job related aspects, so I will be shifting my focus to more into jobs. I hope that's fine. Means practice session, practice scenario. Do you want me to explain it more? Because that is something which you have regularly experienced in your CA offices on a day-to-day basis. So can I move to jobs? Yeah. Okay. So now when you get into a CA firm and when you get into a job scenario, so when you are big four and CA firms are based on size. So all the big four firms and CA firms are based on quite a decent size. You have got different lines of service in big fours. If you see, you have got an audit and you have got an advisory division. So audit is nothing but also known as assurance. Audit is nothing but also known as assurance. Under audit, you have various categories: statutory audit, internal audit. Just a sec. Statutory audit, internal audit. And under the advisory divisions, you have IT audit, fraud and forensic, you have tax, you have mergers and acquisitions, and you have transaction advisory services. If you ask me, this is the universe which we are talking about. Okay. So the universe is about audit, mainly two divisions, audit and advisory. And I am more of a teacher, so I would request a feedback continuously from you. It makes you busy also. Rather than you loafing around and seeing here and there, you can reply, हाँ, सब आएगा तारक, everything is there. Mergers and acquisition tax के अंदर आएगा बेटा, just wait. So under statutory audit, what is statutory audit? You know that. Sir, statutory audit is something which we have been doing like cut, copy, paste and printing and changing the dates and printing the audit reports in our offices. So that is not statutory audit. Statutory audit is being done at a lot of... Okay. So I think I need to now just hold few questions so that people may not get distracted. Then I'll open up the chat room once again. So let me explain it for few minutes now. All of you are excited to have questions. Just a minute. I have closed the chat room for few minutes. I'll open it up again. Sir, under the audit and assurance division, you have statutory audit and internal audit. Now, statutory audit is something when you get appointed as an auditor under the Companies Act 2013 and you are expected to work on that. And when you get into audits, you do purely the work for which a chartered accountant is made for. Okay. So when you do purely a work where chartered accountant is made for, that is statutory audit. Let me tell you very clearly, in smaller towns like Indore, we have got a handful of firms, I can count them on fingers, who are doing the audits in the real sense. Otherwise, most of the places the audit doesn't happen in the way it has to happen. So there when you go, you see a team working on compliance with Ind AS, a team working on compliance with standards on auditing, a separate team working on compliance with the CARO, making sure that everything what is being displayed and declared and disclosed in the financial statements is matching. सो जिसने अभी बड़े लेवल पे काम नहीं किया है, those people who have not worked at that level, statutory audit is something where you go and understand that what actually chartered accountants do, what chartered accountants are capable of. If you see that level of working, then you realize that in your articleship in smaller towns, you have not done that level of work. The letter of comfort, the materiality calculation, substantive testing, internal financial control testing, and then reporting on the adequacy of it. Nothing has been done at the lower level in smaller companies. Let me be very clear. There, everything happens. So here, it's a detailed working. Purely CAs are made for this. Correct? So it's detailed working, purely CAs are made for this. That's one. Now just I will open up the chat room for specific queries related to statutory audit. Then individually I will explain everything and then you have those queries individually. So the chat room is open. You can ask specific queries related to statutory audit if you have any. Any queries specifically related to statutory audit? I have opened up the chat room. You can reply. Okay. Can we move to industry after working for statutory audit profile for 1 year? Very easily. Very easily. Okay. In stat audit, you will be going to the corporate offices of the client. Wherever the finance function is there, you will be working there. It's not in the office job. You have to be at client locations. The scope of work, Priyanshi, is understanding, implementing all the standards on accounting, standards on auditing, all the compliances of Companies Act 2013. Everything will be done here. No, Mr. VP, you will not be dealing with only a single task of filling CARO. You are not an article anymore now. Okay? And after, you all can move from audit profile to tax profile. Yes. Palak, your question is very valid. Financial due diligence after statutory audit. Let me tell you, we have done almost 10 conversions in financial due diligence last year. And the guys who were picked up were purely the guys who have statutory audit experience in big clients. So most of the people are following this path that if you want to get into strategic advisory transformation, financial due diligence, then statutory audit exposure is needed primarily. So the guys who get picked up in that particular stream are people who have done articleship from Big Four or have got listed client exposure. So small city people, what they do is they work for a year or so in listed clients under in a Big Four, gain some good exposure and then they apply for FDD. Palak, you are correct. Yes. Next, any other questions on stat audit? Supreet, US offices, I will take up this PwC, SDC, EY, GDS, Deloitte, USI, and this KPMG, KGS. For all the four of them, I will have a separate. I have a separate slide. I'll enlighten on it. It is not basically related to the work of a chartered accountant. Let me come on to it. I'll clear the confusion on that also. Yeah. Okay. Can we change our profile to investment banking after stat audit? Yes, you can, provided you develop those skill sets and that attitude to crack the interview of investment banking. Okay. I will come on to investment banking after this also. मेरे को पहले basically Big Four का CA firms based on size बता लेने दीजिए, है ना? Akanksha, this session is meant for that, Akanksha Agarwal, that how can we understand that which is the right profile for us? That is what I am doing here sitting right now in front of you. I am explaining each profile properly so that you can think, understand, analyze and decide what is right for you. As simple as that. Shivani, FDD is not a part of stat audit. It's a separate division. It's under advisory. Okay. So I think, yes, we have completed on stat audit. Let's go to the next one. Now once you go to the internal audit, you get one more division nowadays called SPA, System Process Assurance, SPA. It is also known as Tech Assurance, TECH. I would like to ask few questions from all of you because this is a very futuristic profile, so you are supposed to answer me those questions. Okay? Whenever you audit a big client आज भी टैली यूज कर रहा है या SAP ERP बेस्ड हो गया है? टेल मी. Okay, so the clients are ERP based. So the world has moved out from Tally because when you talk enterprise resource planning softwares, they are huge and large in number. So now tell me one thing. So will it comprise of a single software or multiple softwares capturing different details? Sir, multiple softwares. So all those multiple softwares are working to capture financial details. Okay. So when as a statutory auditor you get in, the first job is to ensure that the information which is being given to you as a auditor is being captured properly or not. Should a statutory auditor derive that kind of a comfort or not? Should a statutory auditor derive that kind of a comfort or not? Tell me. My question is, स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर को इस बात की चिंता करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए कि जो इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे दिया जा रहा है वो सही है या नहीं है? Otherwise, the basis of relying on financial information will undergo a toss. Yes or no? Yes, the data comes from the system. Correct. So now here you have to place reliance on the data given. Yes, but we need to be very clear that the data is being captured properly or not. It is not being altered with, and it is not being modified and altered for the sake of better disclosure. So the system has to work. So what does this SPA team does? So the SPA team goes before the statutory audit team. Now मैं उन सारे बच्चों को बता रहा हूँ ये चीज who are very fond of this softwares, very fond of this various machine learnings, robotic process automation, all that kind of technology से जिसको शौक है, who loves to get into technology, tries to understand कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं, कैसे सॉफ्टवेयर काम कर रहे हैं, कंट्रोल्स कैसे होते हैं, ये उनके लिए है. सिस्टम प्रोसेस अश्योरेंस, स्पा. बेसिकली व्हाट दिस टीम डज, स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर के शुरू होने से पहले स्पा टीम जाती है. स्पा टीम पूरा ईआरपी को स्टडी करती है, उस ईआरपी के कंट्रोल्स को चेक करती है और ईआरपी को चेक करने के बाद ग्रीन झंडा देती है. यस, systems are working fine, we have tested them, there are adequate controls, you can rely on to the financial information which is being generated through these systems. तो SPA टेक अश्योरेंस ये काम करता है. Am I clear? तो इसमें किसको जाना चाहिए? जिसको बहुत मजा आता हो सॉफ्टवेयर समझने में, नई नई चीजें समझने में, जिसको फ्यूचर देखने में मजा आता हो. बिकॉज हम चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स की प्रॉब्लम है, वी आर मोर ऑफ अ पोस्टमार्टम पीपल रादर देन फ्यूचरिस्टिक पीपल. बट पीपल हु वांट टू गेट इनटू द बिजनेस स्पेस, हु पीपल हु वांट टू एक्सप्लोर टेक्नोलॉजी एज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, दिस इज समथिंग विच दे वुड लव टू. स्पा. सर इसमें हमको किसी को भी ट्रेनिंग नहीं मिलती है. नोबडी इज ट्रेन्ड इन दिस. द कंपनी, एनी ऑफ द फर्म हु विल रिक्रूट यू, they will take you based on your capabilities and your attitude. ऐसी ट्रेनिंग वो खुद देते हैं. They train you for next month or so and then they put you on to work. They don't straight away put you on to work. Okay, so SPA is done. It is not just like review of internal controls. Review of internal control is one of those aspects. Let me be very clear. Akshita, रिव्यू ऑफ कंट्रोल इज वन ऑफ दोज मेथड्स. मतलब ये बड़ा है और रिव्यू ऑफ कंट्रोल उसका एक पार्ट है. ओके, शुड आई गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन? ओके, सो नेक्स्ट वन यू गो इज रिस्क एडवाइजरी. ओके, रिद्धि, जस्ट वेट फॉर इट बेटा. आई एम नॉट straight away getting into things. Allow me some time. मैं कर रहा हूँ, आपको सब करके दे रहा हूँ. Wait. आप जेनरिक क्वेश्चंस मत पूछो, अपन पहले प्रोफाइल वाइज चलते हैं, फिर आपके जेनरिक क्वेश्चन सारे पूछ लेना. ओके, बिकॉज वी हैव सर्टेन टाइम लिमिटेशन ऑल्सो. हमको 8 साढ़े 8 तक कंप्लीट करना है सारी चीजें, और ढंग से पढ़ाना है मेरे को आप लोग को. आई एम हियर टू टेक अ क्लास एक्चुअली. ओके सर, रिस्क एडवाइजरी नंबर 1. तो रिस्क एडवाइजरी क्या होता है? रिस्क एडवाइजरी इज प्योरली इंटरनल ऑडिट. प्योरली इंटरनल ऑडिट प्लस वेरियस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. तो बिजनेस कंसल्टिंग बोलते हैं इसको कई लोग आजकल. रिस्क एडवाइजरी को बिजनेस कंसल्टिंग भी बोलते हैं. और आप लोग बिजनेस कंसल्टिंग के नाम पर क्या क्या सोच लेते हो मुझे भी मालूम है. आप सब लोगों को वुल्फ ऑफ द वॉल स्ट्रीट बनना है. एंड ऑल ऑफ यू वांट टू मेक मिलियंस एंड मिलियंस ऑफ रुपीज. देयर वाज वन क्रेजी ओप्पो person here right now. How do I make crores? You tell me that. So boss, I can't tell you that. You go to the Bitcoin market to make crores overnight. I can't tell you. Okay. So risk advisor is purely internal audit. Once what you do here is you don't simply check. Nowadays internal audit has evolved to the next level. Here you draft standard operating procedures. Here you try to work on the instructions of the management, what management wants you to do. So management may give you different kind of tasks. So here it's an audit by the management for the management of the management. So you are working in the instructions of management. I'll simply tell you a couple of examples of what kind of work is being done. So sometimes they will tell you ki boss, you just let us know whether the efficiency at which our machines are working. Let us know where are the leakages happening, why our machines are not able to generate the output at the reasonable cost or the lowest cost, and you suggest the measures. So it's like production analysis. Someday they will say, please analyze our HR team and HR department and let us know what is going wrong at those points. So that is risk advisory. Correct? So जिसको बिजनेस समझने का शौक हो, मार्क माय वर्ड्स, जिसको बिजनेस समझने का शौक हो, धंधा करने का शौक हो, उसको ये सब जरूर करना चाहिए. उसको पूरा एक 360 डिग्री नॉलेज मिलता है कि बिजनेसेस काम कैसे करते हैं बड़े लेवल पे. इफ यू हैव एस्पिरेशंस, आई वांट टू वर्क बिग एंड आई वांट टू सेट अप माय ओन बिजनेस. सो इफ यू वांट टू सेट अप योर ओन बिजनेस समथिंग, देन यू हैव टू डू इज इंटरनल ऑडिट. इसमें आपको वो फैक्ट्री पे भेजेंगे, इसमें आपको क्लाइंट लोकेशन पे भेजेंगे. यू विल बी आस्क्ड टू ट्रैवल. आप में से जितने बच्चों के ट्रैवल करने के सपने हो वो यहां से पूरे होंगे. बराबर? सो दैट इज वन थिंग. यस, सो क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू रिस्क एडवाइजरी बताइए. व्हाट क्वेश्चंस यू हैव? चैट रूम इज ओपन. There is one question, is CFO advisory covered under this? No. CFO advisory is not covered under this. I'll tell you. CFO advisory is something where a CFO has got a lot of responsibilities nowadays. Chief Financial Officer is certifying the details and he is taking responsibility of many things. So the Chief Financial Officer, rather than doing everything on his own and getting done by the company, hires a big four or hires a bigger company. मेरे को मुक्ति दो इन चीजों से और मेरे को तसल्ली दो कि सब बराबर चल रहा है. ओके, सो वंस यू गो ऑन टू दैट, तो CFO advisory is like working on the instructions of the CFO only. Risk advisory is working on the instructions of the whole management. So there is a difference. करेक्ट? चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी की स्टडी के बाद आप ये सारे काम कर सकते हो. यू नो टैक्सेशंस, यू नो सिस्टम्स, यू नो लॉ. सो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अभी सभी कर सकता है. ओके, हाँ. CFO advisory is more like management consultancy, if you can ask, you can say that. Okay, so I think it's here. Yes, Rishabh, business consulting would help in getting into management consulting someday, provided you are rubbing shoulders with the right people. And as far as I remember, Rishabh, you are pursuing CFA also. So yes, management consulting will set up the base. Matlab business consulting would set up the base for management consulting in the longer run, correct? You can shift from statutory audit to internal audit, that's not a problem. But internal statutory audit mein it's more of compliance, and internal audit mein is more of management and business understanding and getting things done for management. Okay. Akanksha, SAP profile doesn't comes under this. SAP profile comes under tech assurance. वो SPA है, वो SAP नहीं है. SAP जैसे आप SAP पे काम कर रहा है आपका कोई क्लाइंट, तो आप उसको SAP पे कंफर्ट दोगे कि आपका SAP सिस्टम बराबर काम कर रहा है. सो फॉर दैट दे हायर अ बिग फोर कि हमारे सिस्टम्स बराबर चल रहे हैं कि नहीं चल रहे. तो SAP प्रोफाइल में आपको वो एक डोमेन सिखा के उसका एक्सपर्ट बना देंगे कि आप ये चेक करते रहो रेगुलरली कि आपके क्लाइंट के लिए बराबर चल रहा है या नहीं चल रहा है, ऐसा. ओके. अच्छा, आस्किंग दिस ऑल द शिफ्ट क्वेश्चंस एंड स्वैप क्वेश्चंस. एक बात समझिए, आप लोग बुफे डिनर करने आए हैं क्या? एक प्लेट ऑर्डर करने के बाद ये करेंगे, एक प्लेट के बाद वो करेंगे. आप लोग को टैक्स पता है कैसा लगता है? अभी आपको टैक्स लगता है डीटी का सिलेबस है, बिकॉज आपने डीटी का एग्जाम दिया तो आपको लगता है डीटी का सिलेबस है. इन रियल लाइफ आप टैक्स के कुछ रेलेवेंट एरियाज में जब आप एक्सपर्ट बन जाओगे ना, आप सिर्फ उसी में काम करोगे. और वो आपको अगर डेवलप करना है तो आपको अभी से डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. अभी क्या है, आप सब बच्चों का ऑल ऑफ यू एम दैट कि मुझे 15-20 लाख रुपए सैलरी भी दे दो और मुझे ये फ्रीडम भी दो दैट आई कैन जंप फ्रॉम वन स्ट्रीम टू अनदर स्ट्रीम, विच इज यूजुअली अ विशफुल थिंकिंग इफ यू आस्क मी. ओके, सो दैट इज समथिंग विच नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. एकदम से नहीं होता है ये सब. ओके, कैन आई गो अहेड नाउ? Thank you. Sir, now when you come to tax, सर जब टैक्स में आप डायरेक्ट टैक्स की तरफ आते हो तो डायरेक्ट टैक्स में nobody will ask you to file returns. Under that, for example, under tax you will have something called, let's say, a डायरेक्ट टैक्स और इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स के अंदर, डायरेक्ट टैक्स के अंदर एक डायरेक्ट टैक्स मिलेगा आपको, दूसरा एक ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग मिलेगा. आर यू अवेयर ऑफ द ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग कॉन्सेप्ट? व्हाट इज ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग? So transfer pricing relates to the concept of ensuring that the transactions are happening between related parties at arm's length price. That is something in the Bible is section 92 A से लेके 92 B C D E F, 92 A to 92 F as far as I remember. Am I correct? Okay, so now under this what happens is when you have multinational companies who have got subsidiaries and associates and joint ventures working across cross border, so what you need an assurance, the government needs an assurance that the transactions which are being done with each other are at arm's length price. So for that there are checklists, for that there are processes to determine the arm's length price. This particular work of transfer pricing is usually office based. You don't face the clients, not client facing. Okay, so it's not client facing. Transfer pricing. Direct tax, again it is also office based and not client facing. So जिन लोगों को client के पास मिलने का शौक नहीं हो, ऑफिस में they want to do का research kind of work, that is direct tax. And direct tax में once again let me be insisting that आपने पूरा सिलेबस पढ़ा है, आप पूरे सिलेबस पे काम नहीं करोगे. If you have studied the whole syllabus of direct taxes, you will not be studying direct taxes like a syllabus in your firm. You will be working on certain sections, certain sectors. You will be developing as a specialist of certain areas only. Okay? I would request again all the candidates not to put irrelevant switching, changing questions. Srishti, I repeat, please don't ask these questions when I'm explaining a profile. Okay? सारा इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग का भी मैं आपको डिटेल समझा दूंगा. जस्ट वेट. I will just decipher what this investment banking is all about. So transfer pricing, generally nobody has a knowledge, but there is something called OECD guidelines, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. They have developed guidelines for transfer pricing for the world to follow. So OECD guidelines are something of transfer pricing which you should be aware of. So Vivo 2015 has asked the relevant question that, sir, what kind of questions can be asked related to transfer pricing? So as you don't have a practical knowledge, these things should be clear to you. Sections 92 to 92 EF, what kind of compliance requirements are there under those sections, that should be clear to you. If you display a good sound knowledge of direct taxes, if you are able to understand and interpret the law in a proper way, then you are a suitable candidate for them. Because most of the places transfer pricing experience is not available to smaller firm people. Okay. So this was something which I was explaining in terms of direct indirect tax. Now let me just take IT audit. You would be hearing the names called SAP, SAP, Oracle. इसके लिए भी they are hiring chartered accountants. So SAP, Oracle. Sir, what they will do with chartered accountants here? Okay. So in IT audit, what will happen is, if a client has got a SAP, if a client has got an Oracle or a ERP which they want to ensure that it's working properly or not, so they take up IT audit and then they appoint you into those places and they appoint you as clients. This is sometimes more related to the kind of work which TCS and Infosys also makes do to people, to chartered accountants, if you ask me. So TCS and Infosys gives a particular flavor of all this. Okay. SAP, Oracle, TCS, Infosys. Anything you want to ask in IT audit, beta? CS might be required an IT audit to check end-to-end process flow, right? Okay, how is the growth in the IT sector? See, I'll tell you what, if you have a particular vision that after a couple of years, usually I come across girls coming up saying, sir, I have 2 years before I get married, so I want to explore myself and then find a place in industry. So what happens is, under IT audit, if you develop this capability of being a client specialist or a client domain analyst, then these profiles may come up as, like, if you go into an industry, let's say go into a TCS or a Wipro or a Infosys, and then you get into that particular department, this will give you a comfort. Okay, such profiles are being available from work from home. Yes, there is the possibility of work from home profiles is more in such kind of a situation, but let me tell you the work from home scenario for the overall CA field. Chartered accountants are not meant to be at work from home. Let me be very clear. A. B. Chartered accountants, unless interact with clients and understand the businesses, cannot give foolproof solutions. So, okay. So, asking that 100% work from home available hai, thoda sa there would be a challenge. I may not be able to say that chartered accountant should always remain at work from home. It's good for few days, but IT audit also understanding the client, having a online session with the client rather than interacting and seeing things happening makes a difference. And all the firms have now started insisting on one thing, that okay, there will be a hybrid culture. This is a general answer for the work from home query which would come later. all the firms have clearly given an instruction that all of you have to be at the base location. Base location bole to if you are being appointed for Mumbai, you have to be in Mumbai. You may come to office once or twice in a week, but it is not compulsory. It is compulsory for you to be in Mumbai. So work from home is not permanent work from home. For example, if you get a job in Mumbai, one of the big four, and you are from Indore, you can't say that I will remain in Indore permanently. No, they will ask you to come and stay in Mumbai, and you may not go to office on a daily basis. So that is the hybrid culture which they are talking about now. Okay. No, Hemant, having an Oracle SAP experience for these profiles is not compulsory. They will train you for all this. Okay. They would. Silky, my simple request, please wait. Don't get into in between asking questions. Your questions are not getting missed out, but you are asking irrelevant questions. I won't answer them in between. Preeti, it seems you are still not a chartered accountant. You are asking kiddies questions. You have become a chartered accountant. Why are you worried about government course of CA? Please, I have a interactive discussion here with qualified chartered accountants. If somebody is here to pass off time, please leave the session. Okay, and we are having some real technical discussions. Okay. Next, let me go to IT audit I did. I have not taken up indirect taxes. Let me touch upon indirect taxes also. Once let me speak on indirect taxes too. Sir, indirect taxes, when you are working with bigger clients, it is about taking care of the whole GST. I have seen what has happened is these companies, because GST is not an easy thing to handle when you have bigger clients where invoices are being generated in thousands and thousands. For example, Amazon will be generating invoices 24/7. And then an IGST issue, GST issues, SGST issue, CSC, GST forms and everything. And by every 10th you have to fill up one particular return. Then after 20th you have to file GSTR 3B. So what will happen is when you do all this kind of stuff, what will happen? These things cannot be taken care of by the industry. So the industry comes to a bigger firm. Bole, aap kya IDT specialist do? You give us IDT specialist, we will put them onto your clients. So if you go into the indirect tax, so two things are there. One is compliance, okay? And the other one says litigation. Please understand, those people who are interested in taxation, they need to listen this. There are mainly two things. One is compliance and the other one is litigation. In smaller offices, we people only do compliance, we people only do litigation, but compliance and litigation are two separate divisions in the offices. Okay, so you have to understand that it doesn't work. So compliance team will be different and litigation team will be different. They should be on what compliance teams should be known, that which is the due date, how to get it done, how to get it filed and how to get it uploaded. More like the work which articles do, CA final articles do. Litigation requires beautiful drafting, beautiful interpretation skills. Your English needs to be par excellence if you want to get into the litigation division of indirect or direct taxation in bigger firms, because it leads to what I'll tell you how it works. There is some provision in which you are giving advice. Okay, so in some provision, if you are giving an advice, I don't know, this pencil is behaving crazy. So under this provision, if you give some advice and from tomorrow that advice may be used as a basis of litigation. So it is as simple as that. Today's advice is tomorrow's litigation. So you get billing money for the client again. Bhaiya, pehle aapko, I gave you the advice. Now there are issues. Pay the money. Okay. So today, yes, Rishabh, it's a humorous situation, but this is the threadbare analysis. What I have understood, that today's advice is tomorrow's litigation. That is for sure. Okay, Pulkit, Customs Act discussion is not too much relevant because you always have custom housing agents working for such bigger companies who are involved into import-export transactions. Chartered accountants are more concerned with the compliance of Customs Act rather than acting actively into Customs Act. Okay. So this sums up IT audit, direct tax, indirect tax. Okay. And now IDT is a good profile. Trust me. IDT, Shivani, if you ask me, IDT is very promising. The way GST has evolved, and it will keep on evolving for next 5 to 10 years. No doubt about that, because a diverse country like India will never stabilize, to be very honest, if you ask me. So okay. It's not the case that advocate is preferred in litigation over a CA and indirect taxes. No, that's not the case. That's not a deciding factor. So don't worry on that. Yash, you need to prioritize this session with me rather than going out somewhere right now and asking for recording. Be with me. It's my time. You have to be with me. I know, being a chartered accountant, you are invited everywhere for felicitation, but within the time you need, tumko pata hai, you know that boss, you have become a CA, but still there is a bigger battle to be fought. So be here, ask questions. Recording is going on, that's not a problem, but be here in the session, that will help you. Okay. Fraud and forensics. How many of you want to be a detective? How many of you want to be a fraud forensic expert? Cyber crime expert, fraud forensic expert. Anybody interested in this profile? Fraud and forensic. Sir, it sounds really exciting. I think like I am acting like a James Bond kind of a person and trying to unearth things. Correct? So when you get into fraud and forensics, okay. So it's when you get into fraud and forensics, you develop that criminal kind of a mindset, that skeptical mindset that something is going wrong. Now, when you have systems like SAP, you have systems like Oracle, you have got internal financial controls, you've got bigger things happening. So the people making the money and minding out ways out are also unique. So fraud and forensic is requiring highly specialized skills in analysis and understanding the mentality of the management and keeping things very confidential at a level and then working for the clients. Fraud and forensic, definitely you don't do a lot of it in the articleship exposure, but yes, it helps and they provide you good amount of training. There are analytical tools. I'm talking about some age old tools like audit command language, and then something called Power BI is something which has come in where you can develop various queries, find out things. Well, macros of Excel are now a passe. Agar if you are doing macros of Excel, great, good, congratulations, but it is outdated now. Fraud and forensics takes you to analyze the whole data, understand the system and find out the faults. So that means whatever clearance is given by SPA, whatever is done by them, and then the fraud and forensic comes and finds ki boss, this was not checked, this is something happening. Okay. Like fraud and forensic division got activated when this Bharat Pay had to face the allegations that there are siphoning of funds is happening. You know that Shark Tank Ashneer Grover had to resign as a director overnight just before the investigation report was to be released by one of the big four. He resigned and there were clear instances where the money was diverted to his known people. Are you aware of that? Correct. Heard of it? Please read about it. You just heard of it, please read about it. These are the kind of questions which interviews may pop up in front of you. Okay, please explain his case. See, these are all things which will take 2 hours. So it's better than I start doing some tuitions like this and charge money to chartered accountants now so I can have higher fees from you. We can't do everything in the short span of time, my friend. Okay. So fraud forensic done, tax done. Now let's say merger acquisition. Yes, it was proved that there was some wrongdoing happening. Supreet, share the report with me. I'll share it with everyone. Okay. So now let's go to mergers and acquisition. Abhi aap log, you would have heard of this. I want to get into financial due diligence. I want to get into transaction advisory services. I want to get into strategic advisory and transformations. I want to get into deal advisory. These words would you have heard? Okay. So financial due diligence, transaction advisory services, strategic advisory transformation, or deal advisory. Take a simple case in 2 minutes. I have to acquire a company. Okay. So if I have to acquire a company, in our classes we have simply calculated a purchase consideration and we have tried to find out the goodwill or the capital reserve. Correct? Whenever you see any question in your financial reporting paper or you do it in your books, every information is given to you. Okay. The real challenge in life is to get that information out from the company. So practically what happens is when you go into a due diligence, the company whom you are going to acquire, you ask that please allow us access of your books of accounts and your accounts and finance team. We will go there, analyze your books, ask few questions, assess the overall situation and come back and give a report to our client. Do you understand this diligence concept? Do you understand this due diligence concept? Okay. So now tell me one thing. When you do this kind of a due diligence, do you get ample unlimited time at the client's place or limited time? Limited time for completion of desired objective. Very good. Okay, so you'll get limited time. So now under that limited time, you need to find out only things based on the books or many things based out of the books also. For example, are there any litigations pending? Are there any issues going on with the company? Are there any cases pending? Have you given any guarantees and warranties? That is something which always remains out of the books, and that is the real point of a problem when you acquire a company and discover later on that you gave a purchase consideration of 200 crores to a company to acquire one, and then finally you find there are liabilities available of 80 to 90 crores which we did not consider. Yes. Okay, Uday Prakash is asking me to unmute him. So I will unmute Uday. He wants to say something on this. Yes, Uday. All yours, beta. Can you unmute yourself, Uday? Uday, you can unmute yourself. Please speak up. Uday? I am allowing you to unmute. Okay, I am allowing. Okay. Uday, now you can unmute yourself, beta. I have changed the settings. Yeah, Uday, please carry on. Yeah, Uday. I think Uday is not able to connect again. I think he's lost the connection. No problems. Okay, let's continue further. Okay, so FDD, so all that limited time which you have, you need to evaluate the qualitative information. Okay, so when you evaluate the qualitative information, and then you take up a decision. So it's like a time bound assignment when you go to the client and tell ki boss, this company is worth, let's say, 250 crores. So he's relying on your calculation, your assessment. So your team is demanding, your challenges are higher, and the skill set expected is comparatively higher. I have been asked a question, sir, I have heard that people only from rankers are taken in SAT and FDD. It's not the case. People with good quality exposure in statutory audit in bigger firms or a listed client exposure will help you get into these firms and these positions. It's not compulsory. Out of the 10 conversions which I have done in last 6 months for SAT, 9 of them are non-rank holders. Okay, so don't worry on that. But yes, they look for listed client exposure, statutory audit exposure at very higher levels. Directly, nahi. SAT and FDD are different terminologies developed by different firms, Rishabh. SAT is strategic advisory and transformation. FDD is financial due diligence. Nothing much of a difference. Everybody has portrayed it differently. And somebody comes at transaction advisory services. Okay. Directly getting into this, Chayan, if you have a very good statutory audit listed client exposure, then, and if you have worked in a big four, yes. CFA, yes, Rishabh, CFA, being a CFA will be helpful. They would ask you to get into valuations also. So your all the modeling and all the valuation understanding in which you have understood and developed in CFA will be used there. But only this will not help. Let me be very clear. Listed client exposure, statutory audit understanding is a primary task there, primary ask. Okay. I think this is an endless discussion. So can I go to the next slide, please? You can try, Chayan. No problem. See, trying never a problem. You should try. क्या होगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा? What maximum they'll say? You are not selected और क्या? So CA firm, big fours, industry. Now you get into industry. I think there were few people who were asking for industry also. So if you go into industry, you have a banking industry, you have manufacturing, you have software industry, you have startups. In banking, you may be asked to get into investment banking, corporate finance, and credit. Okay. So all the investment banking fellows, session started and you started bombing those questions on me. Now hear out for investment banking. Okay. So investment banking, what you see in films, what you see in newspapers saying millions and billions going here and there. Let me be very blunt, very straight and very categorical on that. If you are working in investment banking in India, hello, am I audible now? Few people are saying that I was not audible. So am I audible now? Okay. So last 20 second I was not clear. Okay, so should I repeat that? So I was putting the real nectar of investment banking. So I should repeat that because that was an on-demand thing. Okay, I'll repeat. Sir, investment banking is something. If you are thinking here, sitting in India, sitting in a Bangalore or a Mumbai, you will be dealing with people with corporate suited guys and CFOs. If you think you are like a Harvey Specter or a Mike Ross of suits and cutting deals and settling things across on the table, my answer is no. You will not be doing that in investment banking here. What exactly you will be doing in investment banking in India, let me be very clear on that. It might sound a bit too straight, but that's the fact. Investment banking here is done as a back office work. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all these people, when they work here, they hire the best of the chartered accountants and MBAs. Okay. So they hire best of the chartered accountants and MBAs, and what those chartered accountants and MBAs do. There are investment managers and deal makers sitting in Europe, US and different parts of the world. They want to do a decision, or they want to get things done, and for that they want the data to be prepared. Okay. So the task of preparing the data which will be used by them for making deals is done in India. So if you ask me in investment banking, will I be facing the client? Answer is no. Will I be interacting with the client? Answer is you will be interacting with their teams for asking the data, and you will be preparing the data and giving to the seniors. So you are supposed to prepare decks. Decks bole to PPTs. PPTs substantiated with a lot of numbers, lot of analysis. Yes, that analysis is done in India. So that is what, but the payments are huge. You start with 12 lakh, 15 lakh, as far as I understand. How much amount is being offered nowadays at investment banking freshers, if anybody can tell? You would be hearing everything, ना? आप ये सब सुन रहे होगे ना अभी बाहर. 10 to 12 lakhs, 10.5 lakh, 10 lakh in JP Morgan, 13 lakh, okay. These things are happening, na? That is what I was wondering कि ये हो रहा होगा. 10 to 13 lakhs is a starting thing. Correct. So boss, the investment banking, all the Goldman Sachs, all the JP Morgans is something like you will be doing the back office work. If you are really interested with all those flashy offices, yes, it's a place to be. But Baki, if you say, boss, it is open for all. CAs, CMAs, MBAs. It's not a specific field for CA. See, you are being hired by those investment banking firms because of your good capability of to do number crunching. It's as simple as that. Okay. So it's not only you. MBAs from top tier institutes will also be there. The hype is there, beta Tarak, because the hype is there because it's a flashy word. We all of us are obsessed with the West. We see things like suits. We see things like Wolf of the Wall Street. That's why. Okay, Palak has a very valid question which has come in. Yes, it's a valid question, Palak. I'll take that question. Can we do some if we do some financial modeling courses, can we do investment banking front end work? Understand one thing, Palak. If you're talking about a JP Morgan or a Goldman Sachs, do you really think you will be developing their financial models, or that will be developed by high end softwares? Tell me one thing. Do you really think you will be developing those softwares, or softwares will work on its own? And the software development team is the core. This is like the brain, or this is the heart of the overall investment banking team. So do you really think a 22-year-old chartered accountant with a simple overview of a financial modeling course, which you anyways have understood in your financial management syllabus, Black-Scholes model and other valuation models you have already understood in your CA final syllabus. Am I correct or not? So all these things you have already done. So do you really think getting a small short-term course online or from anybody as a financial modeling thing will land you up at that particular place? I am a bit apprehensive, to be very honest. I don't think so. Okay. So investment banking. Yes, Mr. VP, if you ask me, investment banking will be said to be monotonous after a period of time. Yes, it's purely a personal perspective, beta. It cannot be said that it will get monotonous, but if you want every day a new day, then you have, because there also you will be put into sectors. For example, if you are put into oil and gas, so you will be working on oil and gas only. If you are into e-commerce, you will be working on e-commerce only. But you will be crunching numbers and preparing details for the foreigners. You will not be handling the clients directly, that's for sure. As of now, the business setting is that. Rishabh, I am not clear about the investment banking firms of India, to be very honest. So I apologize. I will not be able to give some highlight onto that. Okay. So that is investment banking. कुछ बच्चों का सपना टूट गया होगा. Because it's a lot of hype and everything, but this is what the real work is all about. Let's get into corporate finance of banking. So yes, corporate finance includes one of the very famous profiles called FP&A, treasury, and as well as money management, treasury. Yes. So financial planning and analysis and treasury management. So today, if you are having a surplus of 100 crore or 200 crore and where to invest, how to invest, that is something handling that large clients is something called a treasury function when you are a bank. Okay. Financial planning and analysis is what? Financial planning and analysis is something where you try to understand the overall business through financial numbers, find out areas for optimization, and suggest people that this can be done, that can be done, but not by doing some operational or marketing or management related matters, but in terms of financial planning only. So that is, again, if you are very good at number crunching, you can spend hours in front of the computer system trying to churn out the data, then it's a good place for you. Correct. So that is FP&A and treasury. Then goes into the credit. Credit is something जो बहुत सारे बच्चे खुश होते हैं, but credit is again loans to customers. So if you are good at field work, if you are good at things for loans to customers, then the credit will work for you in banking industry. So the biggest recruiters is always private banks in India who come to ICII campus. One is ICICI, the other one is IDFC, the other one, ऐसे बहुत सारे you will find these banks coming and doing campus recruitment in ICII campus also. But they mainly take you for credit profile and at times relationship manager. That is, two profiles will always come, credit and relationship management. Relationship management is nothing but getting clients. So that is something for which they hire a CA also, a MBA also. So there is no specialized position of a CA in that. Please remember that. And before signing any of the offer letters, it is your right, let me say that way, it is your right to get a proper explanation that what will be your day in the office on a day-to-day basis. Okay. ICICI Securities comes for FP&A profile. Software also, in software companies also you are needed. So in software companies you can work in two things, like I said, in TCS or Infosys. What will happen? So you will be working either as a corporate finance member or as a domain analyst. Domain analyst is something, if TCS and Infosys is managing the software of a company, let's say A Limited, so you will be placed between A Limited and TCS, because A Limited will communicate something in commercial terms which you will translate and tell it to engineers to code accordingly. So you will be a domain analyst. You will change the technical requirements of a company to the software commercial requirements, and you will listen to the commercial requirements of the company and change it to technical requirements. You will act more as a domain analyst, as a translator in that. And anybody who is sick for Indore only and want to stick to Indore, कि मेरे को Indore ही रहना है, I want to be in Indore, try and TCS and Infosys, they have opened up their campuses now, so they can put you up here itself. So you can work for TCS Mumbai or Wipro Mumbai or an Infosys Mumbai, but still work from Indore office of TCS and Wipro also. That is also you can do. Okay. Then comes manufacturing. If any fresh chartered accountant wants to work really hard, okay, you really want to work hard, you have done a lot of maja masti in the COVID times and you have not done your articleship very properly, and if you say ki boss I am lacking something, and if you really want to feel the essence of what a CA can do, I still agree, and by all means I say manufacturing is the place, because the level of complications which you get in manufacturing is nowhere comparable. So the understanding, see, if you go into a software company, there is nothing tangible being made, friends. But when you go into manufacturing, you have a raw material, you have a finished goods, you have a work in progress, you have inventory valuation issues, you have logistic matters, you have delivery points, you have GRNs, you have stores, you have quality control issues, you have loads of things. So if you really want that, what is the khazana, what is the real treasure from which every learning comes through, that's manufacturing. So if you get into a manufacturing company, you learn a lot. And manufacturing companies pay well. Let me tell you, one of the listed clients, Galaxy Surfactants, is going to come for drives. Very soon I will be sharing everything over my Telegram as well as my WhatsApp channel. Galaxy Surfactants. They are a listed entity based out of Mumbai, and the best part is they provide accommodation included in their package in Mumbai along with lunch and dinner facilities. So if you get a house in Mumbai by a company in Navi Mumbai, it's like 30,000 rupees flat. Kharcha bachta hai. Okay, so if you want to explore that, manufacturing is a place to be. And then finally, one of the another most talked about thing called startups. Startups will make you do everything what you can imagine, right from opening up a bank account, right from setting up your accounting system, right from following up for payments, right from making the checks, right from listening to your directors and preparing the minutes and coordinating with company secretaries. Everything you will do with startups. And let me tell you, we are talking in July 2022, the bubble of valuation has finally been burst. So there is no more free money available. There are questions on valuations of startups, and now everybody is driving that. Boss, profit kidhar hai? Where is the profit? You tell us. That only will help. Okay. So startups, if you don't want to have a job profile, join a startup. If you want everything to be done newly, join a startup. If you want to be uncertain for your job also, join a startup. Okay. नहीं मैं मजा नहीं ले रहा हूँ ऋषभ. I'm very honest and brutally honest. This session is something which I do every 6 months, to be very brutally honest. Tarak, startups don't pay good, but yes, the work pressure is high because you don't have an agenda. Every day is a new day. You are building up a company. Understand? So when you are building up a company, जब आप घर बनवाते हो, when you get your house constructed, there is no time limit. Na? Everything is done by you. So it's as good as it's your company. So if you have that outgoing attitude, if you really don't want weekends off, then get into this scenario. Now it is even becoming tougher because now it is more and more demanding. Campus drives, they don't come as of now. But I have few of my students who have got now placed in startups and working well. And if they need people, they contact me and then I circulate the requirements. Akanksha, treasury profile is like khazana. Treasury, if you say it in Hindi, is called khazana. Khazane ko samalna padta hai. It's about investing in the right places, money management, cash strategies, and providing your clients a comfort with their international funds as well as their domestic funds, how the money is getting collected. For example, if you are a multinational store having if you're a chain store across the country, you're receiving cash on a daily basis into the bank accounts. Where do you invest? How do you maintain the float? How do you ensure a good working capital? That is treasury. It happens in banks as well as in the corporate finance team of the industry. Okay. Akanksha, starting career from industry is always one thing, because once you join an industry in the beginning, you will always be doing that only, because you will not be doing CA specific things. You will be working as per the requirements of the company. So then your choice becomes restricted. If you ask me a plain simple advice to any CA, boss, come and do what a CA is meant for first couple of years and then go and decide. And nowadays, if a chartered accountant has to do something, you have got ample opportunities also. So आप किसी भी CA firm में, if you enter and understand, because I'll tell you what, smaller cities, you don't even realize what level of working is done. So if you go and join a bigger company and even do some statutory audit or internal audit, you'll realize that the world is so big. Okay. Now what I can help you with? Yeah, we can help you with this CV drafting assistance through guidelines, organizing placement drives. So sir, placement drives, I'll tell you, PwC will do a drive, KPMG especially for tax will do a drive, Deloitte will also come, and EY too. Then you have BDO also coming, and then you have Galaxy Surfactants also. Offline. No, it's online. First level of interviews will be virtual. Okay. We will give you interview preparation assistance material. Now what does that mean? Interview preparations assistance material. We have compiled all the questions which have been asked. We will give you those questions without charging any money. I actually saw a few people selling the previously asked questions. So they have actually compiled all the questions and are selling it for 200, 300, 400 rupees to you, that you pay and then you'll get those questions. People are finding opportunities everywhere. Career counseling sessions by appointment. These will be done by CCC. If you are aware of a team called Chartered Chat Careers, they have got a panel of experts. They'll groom you. Okay. I usually don't take, Tarak, I'll take your question. I usually don't take individual appointment sessions because I am hard pressed for time. Most of my students who have been my students, they know I am teaching day in and day out. I came back at 6 o'clock from my class and now took up a session at 7. So that's something which I am not able to do. Yes, periodic sessions like the one we had today. हम ये करते रहते हैं. I come up every 6 months and give this gyan, which is updated as per the changing circumstances. Yes, this is something which 6 number point you should take best use of. Interactive webinars. So now all partners from Big Four will come and take sessions. We already had 2. PwC did it Yesterday we had EY IDT. I don't know if you of you were attending that. Did you attend? Did anybody attend the EY IDT session yesterday? One, two, areva. So many. Great, great, great. Yeah. So these sessions, but the problem is with the IT policies, they don't allow you to record those sessions. So I can't give you recordings of that. This one I am recording. Okay. So all partners, they listen to these people. They tell you the what exactly is going to happen. Okay. And all these services you can an alumni support throughout the life. Now this is something like I do in a session, and there are people who keep on doing this for all, that you become a mentor and you do this and then support is there. Everybody has got their own way of working, but this is what 7 things which we will be helping you with. Okay. Now all these things will come to you through one particular place only. You have to subscribe to my Telegram channel and my WhatsApp groups. As simple as that. Okay. So my Telegram group is, I tell you my Telegram group. So if you are not a part of the Telegram group, please join that. It's CA placements. And if you say CA placements, it displays at CA placements D2P. D2P stands for degree to placements. So should I put that link here in front of all of you? So that shall help you actually. If you're already subscribed, it's fine. That's where I keep posting all these things. So that's a Telegram link. And if you are into Telegram, there is also a WhatsApp group for the CA freshers of May 2022. So a WhatsApp group for CA freshers 2022 May, I would suggest only May 22 pass outs to join that. Okay. Lalit, I explained everything in detail, strategic advisory and transformation, beta. I was very open and vocal on that. I'll just add the WhatsApp group link, beta. So here is the WhatsApp group link. Okay, Supreet, I'll address your question at the last. If someone is planning to do ACCA after CA, would US offices of Big Fours in India be a good choice for moving abroad later? Not at all. Offices of Big Four in India, this let me explain to everyone. Yeah. I think that is something very much necessary to understand. Please note, this is something which I should say that way. PwC is not equal to PwC STC. EY is not equal to EYGDS. Deloitte is not equal to Deloitte USI, and KPMG is not equal to KPMG KGS. Please understand this very clearly. All these four offices are doing nothing but working for US, UK entities. You are helping prepare working papers only. You are doing flowchart and checklist based work. You are not facing the client. Please remember this. And one very good question Tarak asked: the salary offered is higher. Salary offered in India, business PwC India, EY India is lesser. These will say they will give you work from home facility and all that what you see in the terms of photographs coming onto the LinkedIn na, my laptop, my welcome kit, my iPad, all those things are more here. Okay, they are nowhere here. यहाँ वाले को तो फुर्सत ही नहीं रहती है. So please make sure when you are entering into it. एक बात और बता देता हूँ. One thing, let me be very clear. If you spend 2 years here, 1 year or more here, you will be of no use to Indian business scenario. Why, sir? Why are you saying it like this? I have a reason. Okay. The job security is, we are not in a job scarce market right now, Mr. Vatsal Jha. What do you mean by job security? You just want to go and log in from 9 to 6, make some money and then come out and do some enjoyment on weekends. If that is the life you want, please go there. But did you do CA for all this? CA is something which you wanted. If you want challenges on a daily basis, if you want your brain should be working in a nicer way, what will happen? I'll tell you. After 2 years, the graph of salaries goes like this and then remains like this. Vatsal, look at this. So, year 1, year 2, year 3, and then it goes into a plateau. And then it's really tough because at the end of the day, you will not be becoming a partner. You are executing on behalf of others. And tomorrow, if there is a sasta option available to this company and this client in another country, they will move to other country. India is nowhere a complete place for them. Let me make it very categorically clear. Tomorrow, if China and Philippines are able to offer these services at a lower rate, they will move. Indian growth, definitely. Indian businesses are more demanding. They have their own ROI, they have their own fee, they have their own profit. So they will compensate accordingly. It's as simple as that. Okay. See, the packages which I am saying nowadays, the basic salary of a chartered accountant in any big four if you ask me, it's starting from 8.25 lakhs 8.5 lakhs fixed for audit. For tax, it usually starts from 9 or 10 lakhs fixed. You will have things like joining bonus plus variable pay. If you are a ranker, then it's a different game. Okay. So I think I have covered most of the things in the last 1.5 hours. And let me just check my agenda. कुछ छूटा तो नहीं है. If that is the case, then I need some more time. That is not today or some other day. Yes. I think I have covered most of the things in my agenda. Acha, let me tell you. VP, Mr. VP, by ICI campus, ICI campus will take a lot of time, and the salaries offered in ICI campus and off campus of Big Four will always remain the same. There will not be a single penny difference. I'll tell you, they will portray the salaries in a very different way there. That should not be the case. So the salaries are always the same. Okay. So you can go for ICI campus placement and see when is the campus starting? 25th of August, correct? By the time you will be having the first salary landing up in your bank account if you join. Attempts do matter for few candidates, but few of the positions do not take attempts as a criteria. For example, tech assurance. PwC tech assurance takes multiple attempt candidates. Deloitte IT audit and risk advisory takes candidates. Okay. So as far as I understand, I have done some of the justice. Chayan, I can't take public sector undertakings, but public sector undertakings are of what do you want to hear from me on PSUs? PSUs are government owned organizations. What exactly you are looking for from my side in PSU? PSU will work in its business. You will be into one of the finance division. As simple as that. What kind of work they are going to offer you, it's based on that. Apply on the individual websites of PSU. Simple. Placement drives would start in next 1 week also. I have circulated the forms of PwC. I have circulated the forms of EY. I will be circulating the forms of KPMG also in a meanwhile. So be ready. Fill up all the forms. So, okay. So fill up all the forms. We will present your forms to them, and once the forms are presented, you are shortlisted. You will be interviewed, and there will be 2 rounds of interviews. Okay. Yes, initially the interviews are going to be online, but you will not have a permanent work from home option. You will have to reach to the base location. Yes, July 21 candidates can be a part of it. Membership number you can apply later also. You can mention in that particular form saying that we will apply later. Membership अभी सबने लिया नहीं है. Mr. AJ, if you want to come back after having exposure in some bigger company, go into internal audit, risk advisory, so you understand the overall business and then come back and work. because individual tax returns filing and GST filing will not get you the revenue which you will receive there, to be very honest. Now I get these questions, what do you mean by work environment? They have good air conditioned offices. They have good canteens. The internet is good and the laptops given are good. Which query is unanswered, Chayan Rathi? I don't know. There's a plethora of chats going on. Interviews would start in the next week. The stock market job profile, see, scoring marks in your FM paper doesn't make you a stock market specialist, Chayan. Let me be very blunt. If you score 19 direct taxes, doesn't mean Bansi Mehta will come and salute you and pick you up. You need to crack the questions. You need to understand. And getting interested in stock market is one thing. And then being an expert of it is another thing. So stock market requirements is, please don't connect it with your 84 mark score of SFM. Okay. Akanksha, I told about SAP profile very much in detail in the beginning. Please watch this lecture again. You will find that. Any company interview, if you want to crack, bacho, there is one simple thing. You need to have the learning attitude. Please understand. Aapko, if you might not be knowing many things, anybody is not prepared. But if you display a learning attitude to them that yes, I am ready to change and adapt, they will take you. My personal opinion is after becoming a chartered accountant and especially having your articleship done in the COVID times, your exposure is very limited. Go to the bigger company, go into a big four, learn better, understand things and then decide a choice. Give yourself a year or two to understand how the world is working. Your opinions would change, your horizon will broaden up and you will find a lot of new things happening around. Okay. Start audit attempts criteria is not there with BDO. If you have got more than 4 attempts, then you have to go into a smaller firm like BDO or a GT and then finally move to the big 4. As simple as that. Okay. I think I am falling short of time, so I need to cut short this particular conversation now and bring it to an end. But yes, if you all are there with me over WhatsApp and other places, you can be a part of my group. Ask the questions, I keep answering the queries there also. Okay. My WhatsApp number is 80853. I don't know, it's behaving crazy. Just a minute. 80. It's 80853 So before we all sign off, can I ask you to switch on your cameras and I can click a small photo of you all so that it becomes a sufficient appropriate audit evidence that yes. So please open up your cameras so that we can have a small click. Yeah, thank you very much. राहुल अग्रवाल 3 महीने में कहीं भी शिफ्ट करने से कुछ भी नहीं होगा. 3 महीने में जो तुमको नौकरी पे लेगा वो भी बोल देगा किसी काम का नहीं है ये. Just a sec. Many of you have not switched on your cameras. I don't know if all of your camera shy or what, like Chayan, Suprit, Rishabh, Bharti, Nandita, Priyanshi. You should switch on your cameras na, for a minute. It's fine. Na? Otherwise, what will I post on social media to show to people that I took up a session? Huh? Nowadays, it has become a trend. Na? I didn't click. Now I am clicking. Just wait. Na? I'm bad at social media, you know. I don't know how to make noise of small things done. Just a minute. Okay. No problems. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and be in touch with the WhatsApp groups and the Telegram groups. Things would go further, and you will keep getting my progress being noted on that. Okay. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and trust me, I'm always available with all of you in terms of any queries or clarifications which you want. God bless all of you. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Good, sir.